Welcome to the bold analysis. The draconian anti-protest bill sponsored by Nairobi Women Rep Esther Passaris is a clear sign that President William Ruto is in panic over the looming Sabasaba protest. And in this podcast, we are going to look at the sticky issues around this bill, why MPs, shockingly from ODM and a section of the Mount Kenya rebels, are actually turning down that bill. We are going to delve more into that. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. And thank you very much for supporting this podcast. We do this each and every day because of your support. And I want to say thank you very much for standing with this podcast. Subscription is absolutely free. When you subscribe to a channel, you'll be getting notifications whenever we publish our videos. Curiously, look at the sponsor of the bill, Esther Passaris. Why did they pick Esther Passaris? Esther Passaris has never sponsored any bill, successful bill, in the National Assembly. And I agree with those MPs who are saying that that is not her bill. She's just been sent there. The first objective why they picked Esther Passaris is because someone wants to deflate the anger, all from the president now to be the bill, or rather to the anger to be directed towards Passaris. I'm looking at, if you look at social media posts, I think people are talking, really talking. There are a lot of talking about Esther Passaris. And because she's also from Nairobi, she's been picked because she's also from Nairobi, and Nairobi is the epicenter of this protest. And lastly, the fact that she's an ODM legislature. So this bill, when it is being discussed in the public court, someone will actually want to associate clearly ODM with it. And I can tell you, things are not as people think they are. And without much ado, let's look at this Citizen TV story.
Maandamano ya wiki jana yaliyosababisha maafa ya zaidi ya watu 20 na mali ya mamilioni ya fedha kuharibiwa yameonekana kuipiga mshipa serikali, mswada wa kudhibiti namna maandamano haya yatakavyofanyika ukikarabatiwa bungeni. Mapendekezo haya yanayolenga kufanyia marekebisho sheria ya utaratibu wa umma inapendekezwa na mwakilishi wa kike wa Nairobi Esther Passaris, na inalenga kuwazuia waandamanaji kuandamana mita 100 kutoka ikulu na maeneo ambayo yanalindwa kikatiba, bunge na mahakama, waandamanaji wakitakiwa kuandamana katika maeneo maalum yatakayotangazwa na waziri wa usalama akishirikiana na gavana wa kaunti au mamlaka mengine ya kaunti.
Aren't you therefore minimizing my opportunity to let people know that I'm unhappy about something?
You have to have a certain designated area where you cannot reach as demonstrators, and they have to respect that. People are calling demonstrations and giving public holidays and saying it's free fall, let's go to State House. I think we need to have laws, because once we have laws, then we can catch the offenders.
100 meters. You will not be allowed to protest 100 meters close to Parliament, 100 meters close to State House, 100 meters close to Treasury, close to Supreme Court, or rather Judiciary, and other protected areas. EDC is actually saying that it is not criminalizing protest. Do you know one of the things, and why I want to say that those who are crafting this bill are not really smart, as even though they think they are? Remember, protesters have been arrested in the past, and after they're arrested, they're normally freed because the charges are so flimsy. Because protests is actually allowed is exercising Article 37 of the Constitution. So, whenever they are arrested, the state always lacks a watertight case against them, freed on bail. Then they make, mentions, hearings in court here and there, and the case normally don't go somewhere. So this one is one of the things to probably to get a charge sheet for those who will be arrested as protesting. But then the question that some policy experts are asking is this: are the security agencies going to walk around with body cams or tape measure so that when they arrest a protester, they will say, I arrested this one, 70 meters from Parliament, 32 meters from, so that someone has breached the 100-meter requirement. And they're also saying it can be abused. Someone will arrest you around archives and say, I arrested this one close to Parliament, 100 meters. And there is a lot of question on how it is going to be actually implemented. But of interest is this: the State House team convened a meeting, a consensus meeting, so that they can get a consensus around this bill so that it can be passed very fast, even before, ahead of this Sabasaba protest. There have been another unsuccessful attempt to trick around with this demonstration bill, and that was by Geoffrey Ruku. I don't know that the first name is Geoffrey, but I know the Ruku. The guy who is the Mbere North, is it North or South? It could be North or South. MP who is currently, who was actually given a cabinet slot by the president, and the bill collapsed somewhere. So this one, it has been rejected across, with reports that that meeting that was convened, a section of ODM MPs and Mount Kenya rebels have threatened to shoot down the bill when presented in Parliament. And just to give you a glimpse of what ODM think, Senator Eddie Okech from Migori was talking about this bill sometime in TV47.
This same bill, with the word, is a stupid bill. And stupid is an English word that means lack of intelligence and lack of common sense. It lacks those two things. And therefore, it is a stupid bill that doesn't need to be discussed. Because you cannot limit Article 37 of the Constitution by whatever means. Because limiting Article 37 of the Constitution means also limiting Article 1 of the Constitution, which says that the sovereignty of this country lies with the people. Where is that sovereignty symbolized? Where is it housed? It is housed within these same institutions that you are saying we cannot go to. Okay? And those institutions, okay, they are what makes Kenya Kenya. Okay? When you come to this country, the presidency is both a head of state, head of government, but also a symbol of national unity.
MPs are cagey, and they're so careful on how they interact with this bill, because it risks brewing anger among the young people who are actually currently directing their frustration to MPs. They're all over in social media asking, we are waiting for that MP who will actually support that bill. Even curiously, I'm waiting for, if it is going to be presented in Parliament, who are these MPs that are going to take it? And it's ready, and Passaris is already struggling with getting the requisite numbers for the bill to meet its threshold even in the National Assembly. ODM, on the other side, is finding it difficult and in a big dilemma to back such a bill. You know, sometimes when the shoe, you're comfortable, the shoe is on your side, you always enjoy the comfort and you just want to find things the way they are. But when you make clothes, you should always remember that while now you are not protesting, but tomorrow you could be the one who is protesting. Who knew that? See how things change very fast. In 2023, it is the ODM which was, and the Azimio team which were protesting. Now, ODM is on the side of government, and Rigathi Gachagua is outside, and the young people this time around are the ones that are protesting, not even associated with any political party. Civil society organizations are making fun of the bill, that it will likely be declared unconstitutional in a competent court of law. It is something that is not there. Political observers opine that the bill drafters cannot achieve much and I agree. That bill cannot achieve much to silence the voices. And whatever Passaris is doing is totally unnecessary. How do you stop the owners of a place from visiting it? This was a question from Martin Olo.
Trying to do, or whatever Passaris is trying to do, or Parliament, or whatever they do, it's totally unnecessary. Let me ask you, how do you stop owners of a place from visiting their home? You know who owns State House? It's not the government. Yeah. It's not the president. It's Kenyans. It's their house. How do you stop them from nearing there to speak? I mean, if I stopped my children from coming home to protest or to raise issues with me, where else do I expect them to be? So basically what we're saying is that we cannot be afraid of ourselves. We cannot be afraid of the owners of this country. We cannot, ostracize or even alienate citizens who are the bosses of this country from picketing and demonstrating and communicating to their leaders.
But what would the fear be?
Ruto handlers are completely clueless, and they cannot find what exactly they need to do. Or let me not say they cannot find. They're actually employing dubious tactics to counter that Gen Z protest. The sideshows, manufacturing of narratives here and there, and bringing up diversions is only diverting the attention of the country from the real conversation. And that is not helping either.
It is for political, even this conversation is for political expediency. It's how politicians even end up framing media narratives. For instance, a week after the protest, we're here talking about whether we're tribal or not. Imagine, 6 lives lost, or more than 6 lives lost. People still being abducted. But we are gathered here, sharp minds, everywhere, talking about whether we are tribal or not. The reason is, what was the first thing that the Murkomens and Ruto's Murkomen and all the rest of them said? That this is a Kikuyu uprising. And then all of us got so angry and decided, no, we are not. We are busy defending people who we have no business defending. We have no business defending our actions. All we have is to do what we need to do, because you know why you went out to the streets. So to brand us as a tribal uprising and as a tribal protest is so that you take away what this government is good as, is that if it cannot deal with an issue, it either silences it through murder and abductions, or it drowns it with its own noise. So it creates its own noise, and its own noise right now is tribalism. So this is all government propaganda that we are listening to. Yeah. Every young person who went out to the street, you know why you went. And I don't care. If you went out to the street because you're tribal, I am happy for you. Because we need as many numbers. If your tribalism will inspire you to bring change in this country, well and good, be as tribal. My name is Jim India. I am tribal. I am an anarchist. I am a terrorist. I am, what else do they call us? I am all those things. If those things...
This bill is wicked. And this is what I'm saying. Instead of finding out the radius and the diameter between protesters and protected establishments, we should actually be focusing on the real question. Why are these people coming out in their numbers to protest? What exactly is the problem? You know, that is the question. As to whether they are protesting 200 meters or 100 meters, it's not an issue. And I found this story, Alex Monkideo was actually talking about this lady who went to an hospital in Naivasha, and there was supposed to be a surgery, and he was told, let them wait the surgery to grow until is when Shah is going to cover.
On Wednesday, July, this is the Daily Nation, page number 3. And there's a lady, her name is Millicent Akinyi. Millicent Akinyi was wheeled into Naivasha Sub-County Referral Hospital for surgery to remove a tumor. Her employer had every reason to expect a smooth process. Millicent Akinyi has a tumor. Pelekwa Naivasha Sub-County Referral Hospital kuondolewa tumor. Millicent Akinyi yuko na kansa ambayo inaitwa hypochondriac lipoma. Okay? I hope nimetaja vizuri. Millicent Akinyi amelipa SHA mpaka mwisho. Bosi wake pia amelipa SHA. She's a house help, by the way. Amefika hospitali kwenye ofisi ya SHA, ameambiwa tuma yake na surgery yake haitofanyika. Now listen to this. Haitofanyika kwa nini? Kwa sababu SHA hailipii tuma ambayo haijagrow to the level ambayo SHA inatakikana kulipa. Yes, you heard me right. So now, wanasema, for it to be covered, it must measure 3.3, 3 by 3 centimeter. The tumor must measure 3 by 3 centimeter. Millicent Akinyi's tumor is at 2.2 centimeter. 2 by 2 centimeter. So anahitaji 1 more centimeter. Igrow. Tumor yake igrow. Aende nyumbani tumor yake igrow. 1 more centimeter. Ifike 3.3 centimeter. Ndio arudi hospitali. Ndio SHA imkave.
Look at that outrageous story. Now, that is the example of why people are protesting. And at this point, I need to explain this. Do you know that even people that are saying they're going to occupy parliament and they're going to occupy State House, these people also know that those areas are protected areas. And they also know that there is a risk factor. So you cannot prescribe how protesters will behave by changing the law or creating, by creating some legal bottlenecks. Whatever is happening in this country is not a legal question. No, it is not illegal. It is not as to whether it is illegal or legal for people to go to parliament or people to go to State House. That is not the point. It is a point of conviction why people are pursuing. What exactly are people pursuing? Hata ukichange law today, watipate numbers, you will not use that law to stop them. Because either they also know it is not right to breach parliament. They also know it is not right to breach State House. It is illegal. But then, why do people cross? Because they are already pursuing, they feel like tone deaf. Who you have to ski. Like for example, sisi tunasema we want it this way. You are not listening to us. Then you are creating laws. I'm like, it's not a question of law. It's not a question of protesters don't know that it is illegal to breach parliament. No. It is a question of we want to go and exercise our right. And I'm looking at this bill. I'm like, well, this is kicks of a dying horse. The petition that was filed, look at the problems. The petition that was filed to stop Lagat from resuming work was withdrawn, and one of the factors that fueled the Gen Z protest on 25th of June was about the issue of Albert, and now Lagat is back to office. Now, those are the issues. And I've always been asking, what is so difficult by, sometimes you just need to let go. You let a big fish, if people think Lagat should go, you let just Lagat go. Even if Lagat is not a deputy IG, he's not going to die. By the way, he's not going to die. He can get tenders in government and still just make life possible for himself. So I don't really think, and of course, government is huge. Hata unaweza mpatia ambassador, The other issue is this. How does, and why I'm saying this bill is just a wicked one, without a solution. The real problem with the protest here is there are genuine protesters. Then there are goons who no one knows who is bringing them. Because the state is saying it is not us, opposition is saying it's not us. So if you say you can protest 100 meters from State House, fine. You achieve that. How does that stop goons from infiltrating the protest? How? In fact, if someone wanted to help out, he would actually frame this bill to say that police officers should actually be positioned to protecting people's businesses. Probably saying that you are allowed to, fire when someone is inside, is breaking into a shop and is probably, I think that is more relevant. Yes, that you're allowed to maybe shoot rubber bullet kama mtu anavunja duka. That could probably make more sense, because that is the problem, and it's causing a bit of that. The police are not the enemy. From shoot to kill now to this one, I want to believe this is just another diversion. And I say, however much diversions you create and divert people's attention, if the issues are not arrested, if the issues are not being arrested, you're just recycling. And we're just oscillating around a problem that we are not solving. Thank you.